Please join me in giving Maurice a really warm welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. Bonjour. Thank you. Mbote. Thank you for Westpac for inviting Friends of the Congo to be with you today. I'm filled with gratitude to be here on Lenape land, where we could speak freely. You know, Dr. King, in his letter from the Birmingham jail, he was writing, and he said that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And it's in that spirit that I received this invitation, because our Palestinian brothers and sisters and those in solidarity with them consistently recognize that the injustices taking place in the heart of the African continent are worthy of note, worthy of attention, worthy to be spoken about. And it is in that spirit that I was invited here today to speak to you. I have a few questions just at the outset. If you could just show by raising your hand. How many of you have heard of or aware of the Congo? Just raise your hand. Let me see hands. Okay. How many of you have a cell phone? Raise your hands. How many of you have a laptop or a computer in your home? How many of you have kitchen utensils? How many of you drive a car or drive in an automobile? How about an airplane? How many of you are concerned about the climate crisis? How many of you are concerned about the so-called green or clean energy transition? So all of those questions that I just asked speak to the Congo and demonstrates that each and every one of you who raised your hands, whether you know it or not, are connected to the Congo. If you have a cell phone, if you drive in an automobile, if you have kitchen utensils, if you fly in an airplane, if you're concerned about the climate crisis, if you're concerned about the green energy transition, clean energy transition, then you ought to be concerned about what's happening in the heart of the African continent in a country called the Democratic Republic of the Congo. It's a country the size of Western Europe, straddling the equator. The dawn of the 20th century, European geologists said it was a geological scandal because there was so much wealth packed into that space in the heart of the African continent that Joseph Conrad called the heart of darkness, that it was scandalous. It's a country the size of Western Europe with an estimated 100 million people, right in the heart of the African continent. Economists say the natural resources in the Congo are valued at about $24 trillion or so. So, you've heard recently, seen on social media, Free Congo as a hashtag. Why? Why does Congo matter? Why Free Congo? Congo needs to be freed from the exploitation, from the extraction. Congo needs to be freed from the conflict. When we talk about exploitation, the dawn of the 20th century, late 1800s, we saw that Congo was given to a king by the name of King Leopold II of Belgium at the Berlin Conference. He ruled it for a 23-year period. And during that 23-year period, the population was decimated by half. Estimated 10 million Congolese perished as the king extracted rubber, ivory, rubber ostensibly to feed the burgeoning auto industry. That's been the pattern in the Congo, not just since the late 1800s, but for the past 500 years, really. Congo has been central to us. The first extraction by Europeans out of the Congo were Africans themselves, human bodies. Emory University has a database where they document the Africans that were trafficked from the continent to the Americas. Almost half of them came out of the Congo region, Central Africa, 4 out of 10 to be precise. So 500 years of extraction from early 1500s to mid 1800s, extraction of human bodies, black bodies, to serve on the plantations in the Americas, Brazil, United States, Colombia, you name it. Then, 1800s, we saw the extraction of natural resources, rubber, feed the auto industry. From the rule of King Leopold was so brutal that there was a global uprising to take Congo away from the king. Mark Twain documented it in King Leopold's soliloquy. Congo then was turned over to the Belgian state. They ruled it as a colonial outpost, and it continued to serve the extractive process. The copper that was needed for the bullets for World War I, World War II, the industrial diamonds needed for World War II, the uranium that was needed for the Manhattan Project that ultimately developed the atomic weapons that dropped down Japan, came out of the Congo. Some out of Canada, but the best quality and the most came out of the Congo. So we see in this space in the heart of the African continent serve as an outpost for the extraction of natural resources, human resources, to feed capitalism, industrialization, development of the West. And that continues to this very day. So when we say free Congo, we're talking about freeing Congo from exploitation, freeing Congo from extraction, freeing Congo from poverty. This country that I'm talking about has a population of 100 million people. Of the 100 million people, 70 million live on less than $2.15 a day, according to the World Bank. In a country that economists say has got a value of $24 trillion. And we know the money is there. How do we know? Because we have a gentleman by the name of Dan Gertler, an Israeli, who's become a billionaire off the Congo. As we speak today, his plunder of the Congo is so outrageous that the Department of Treasury has put him on the sanctions list. Donald Trump took him off. Joe Biden put him back on. Wall Street Journal said that as we speak today, the United States is so concerned about critical minerals for its green energy transition that it's thinking about taking Dan Gertler off the sanctions list again. The billions that he makes out of the Congo, he repatriates to Israel, builds settlements on the West Bank. Dr. King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. That's a concrete example. The injustice that's taking place in the Congo through Dan Gertler demonstrates the extent to which it's connected to Palestine and Israel. So that's the appeal on the part of Congolese to be freed from the extraction, free from the exploitation, free from imperialism. And it's not just me and Congolese who are saying that, but we've had renowned figures, freedom fighters that we're all very well aware of, that recognize the centrality of the Congo to not only Africa, but to the world. So much so that Fidel Castro sent Che Guevara to the Congo in 1965. Saw it as the front lines as a battle against colonialism. And Che Guevara, when he said that Congo's problem is a worldwide problem. The extent to which Congo is successful in overcoming colonialism and imperialism is the same extent to which the African continent will be successful. Fanon was not the only, Che was not the only one. Frantz Fanon, a revolutionary from Martinique, who fought with the Algerians against the French. You may be familiar with him for Wretched of the Earth, a number of other books. He wrote a book called Toward an African Revolution. And in that book, Fanon said, the fate of all of us is at stake in the Congo. He said that because he recognized the centrality of the Congo to the future of the African continent, and It was providential in that statement, because Congo is central today to the future of the planet. It's a part of the second largest rainforest in the world. If you're concerned about climate change, you ought to be concerned about what's happening in the Congo. It is, they call it the second lung, next to the Amazon, after the Amazon. However, what you find in the Congo, it sequesters more carbon than all of the tropical rainforests combined, including the Amazon. It is home to what they call the largest tropical peatlands in the world, that are the size of England. Peatlands are space where sediment has been accumulated over thousands of years, and it traps the carbon. It's a veritable carbon bomb. If it's not protected, then it could release up to 20 years of pollution that is comparable to what we see in the United States from the burning of fossil fuels or through the usage of a combustion engine. So it is critical when we take into consideration the climate crisis, the climate emergency. Then, by the same token, if we want to facilitate a green energy transition, central to the green energy transition, the clean energy transition, is rechargeable batteries. Rechargeable batteries for the electric vehicle. We've seen that the United States have passed a series of bills that speak to that, the CHIPS Act, the Infrastructure Act, and most recently, some claim the largest climate bill in the US history, Inflation Reduction Act. All of them have in their component for access to critical minerals: lithium, copper, nickel, cobalt. The key ingredient in batteries in your cell phones, iPads, electric vehicles that you drive is cobalt. And Congo produces 70% of the world's cobalt. That means if you were to add up all of the countries in the world that produce cobalt, they wouldn't equal what Congo produces. So we see a country in the heart of the African continent sitting at the nexus of the climate emergency and the green energy transition. So when the United Auto Workers gathered with 350.org and the Sierra Club and others and said, as a result of the IRA, we have to protect the workers at the top of the electric vehicle supply chain because of this transition from combustion engine to electric vehicles. I submit to you today, there is no top of the EV supply chain without the bottom. And at the bottom of the EV supply chain are children laboring in the mines in the Congo, cobalt mines. At the bottom of the EV supply chain are women who have the highest metallic content in their bodies in the world, in the Congo. At the bottom of the EV supply chain are those artisanal miners making less than $2.15 a day, while according to Vanity Fair, Dan Gertler makes $200,000 a day from the exploitation of the Congo. So, the appeal to you today when we talk about a free Congo is for you, first and foremost, to break the silence. Congo needs to be freed from the silence about its centrality to each and every one of us as you raise your hands and acknowledge at the outset. Congo needs to be free from the silence about the ravages of capitalism and the hyper-exploitation of the people. It's unconscionable. And we cannot continue to normalize a situation where a country that's so valuable to us in our everyday lives continue to be super exploited the way it is. So that's the appeal that we make to you today at a very base level. Let's not normalize the exploitation of Congo. Let's not normalize the extraction that's taking place in the Congo. Let's not normalize the fact that 6 million, and it's maybe 6 million Congolese have perished in the Congo from 1996 to the present, what the United Nations says is the deadliest conflict in the world, in large part because of the pursuit of those resources that I just shared with you. In large part so that Dan Gertler and other individuals and multinationals can be wealthy. So let's not normalize that. Let's break the silence. Let's free the Congo. Free Congo! Free Congo! Free Sudan! Free Sudan! Free Haiti! Free Haiti! Free Palestine! Go to freecongo.org, join the movement, be a part of change. Thank you.